Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Aurora and welcome to the weekly intuitive energy update. It's the week of April 5th, 2021. We are just had Easter. We're coming out of that energy of the resurrection. We had our equinox resurrection. Now onto this week. And first thing I kind of am being shown to talk about is the countdown. So the numbers of the dates. So on April 3rd, so 4/3/2021, it was 4/3/21. That's just how the date aligned. So that was the date on April 3rd, 4/3/21. And then we had Easter on the 4th of the 4th month. So 404 represents reset in my little world and in my synchronicities that I follow through my evolution. So 404 represents reset. And we're resetting on Easter, which is the energy of resurrection, coming back to life. And we just had the equinox energy, which is coming back to life, and then we celebrate it again here. So just bringing awareness to the energies and how they're all playing in. So yeah, we had the countdown, then we had the 404 reset, and then today it's the 5th, and 5 is all about change. Okay, so I just wanted to give that little explanation just to kind of hop off here, because I think it's really powerful and really important, and I want to also bring some perspective into the energy that we're completing right now. So we just had back in December, we had all the planets aligning, we had portals opening, we had all these different things going on with endings and beginnings, and we're kind of back in that energy, but now it's like that was the beginning of the end, and now we're kind of in the middle of that end, right? So it's like looking at it as like a incline and a drop off. It's like, so here we had the beginning of the portal opening back in December, and then it's like an increase in energy, and it's like we hit our peak back on the equinox. That's the energy I was picking up. And then Easter and so on is kind of the come down, the closing of that cycle. So it's like we entered into the beginning of the Aquarian energies back in December. So this 5D energy, this higher conscious, this truth energy, this compelling energy that's bringing us closer and closer to source, to our authentic self, to spirit, to God, to whatever word you want to put on these higher frequencies. So we had it back in December, building up. We just had our peak energy. So I know that a lot of us have been going through a lot of emotional purging and cleansing and detoxing. So that's the energy that we're in right now, like massive change, guys. And also this year is a 5 as well. That's what I was just told to remind us of, that this year's also a 5, meaning 2021, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1 equals 5. That's all I'm saying, is that it's a 5 year. So numerologically, a 5 vibration holds the frequency of change. So, I mean, much more than that, but that's the key word that I'm going to go with for now, is to incorporate it in here. So change. And April 5th at 2:55 p.m., I just saw 555 with the 2 in between, 2 meaning duality, polarity. So the balance. See, this is how I pick up things from the universe, right? So it's like, oh wow, change, confirmation, 3 5s with the 2 in the midst of it, showing the duality and the polarity and the balance of the 2, and the repulsion and the attraction. Okay, so So yeah, so we've all been in our shit basically, and last week I said that I was in my shit and that I'm processing my shit and all that, and of course I still am, but I'm definitely coming out of my shit. So I'm having more energy and I'm able to enjoy things that I enjoy instead of just feeling very lethargic and very pessimistic and very negative and very stuck in my patterns and wanting to shut down and close off and not open up. So that's the energy that we've been in. But in order for us to recalibrate, we have to have stuff come up. So that's what's going on. So one of the main messages that I've been wanting to bring forth is that to not get attached to what is surfacing at this time. It could be experiences, it could be emotions, it can be memories, it can be thoughts, it can be everything and anything. If it's uncomfortable, if it's, tap into whatever that is and allow for it to flow through you. We are getting bombarded with so much high frequency light energy right now, in every moment, in every breath, and it's like it's fucking us up. We have to recalibrate. It's like, oh wow, oh wow, oh. It's like when you're traveling and you feel disoriented because you're not grounded in your normal life, and so you feel very ungrounded and all over. That's kind of the energy that we're in right now, and it's like massive death energy is coming through right now. So actually I'm being told to mention that if you're having visuals, very strong visuals, dreams, very vivid dreams, premonitions, your intuition is being activated right now, and your soul is entering into your body as this calibration is taking place. So it's like we're being bumped up and down between the old and the new, and playing both games and knowing all this stuff that we should be doing, but choosing our old patterns. So it's like we're now in this energy of genuinely loving, learning what it means to genuinely love ourselves and to forgive ourselves and to allow us to not be shackled to our previous thoughts, beliefs, actions, anything that we've done. This is a massive purging. I've had a lot of old energies coming up around, especially my mental health. I had a really intense day last Wednesday, to the degree where if I didn't have all my tools and my knowings and I wasn't on my spiritual path, I would definitely have thought I was losing my fucking mind and going crazy, and that I needed to get help. It was one of those days where I was not okay, and I haven't been in that space for a long time, but I'm learning as I open up and I share and I express and I connect with different people. I'm being shown that everyone's going through it right now. I haven't talked to one person that hasn't felt like they've just been squeezed, like they're being wrung out, and I'm here to bring the awareness that it's not just you. Things aren't crumbling because it's the end. They're crumbling because they're not serving anymore. And we have the strength and the courage and the power and the forward movement to be able to embody this higher frequency life that we know that we deserve. So that's kind of like the ebb and flow, the push and the pull of the energies at the moment. Is like we're so close to anchoring in this new life that we've been working towards in our heads. Right? And I'm sure externally, but in our heads, there's a lot of should've, would've, could've energy of like regret and doubt and fear and guilt. Did I say guilt? Because that's coming up again. A lot of guilt. So, yeah, like just integrating these experiences, bringing yourself into your heart center, into compassion, into love, and really holding that space for yourself to process what it is that you need to process. And then to not get attached. Don't identify with what things are coming up, and don't take things so literal. That's another thing, is us as humans, we take things very literal, and it doesn't have to be literal. So there's in our group session that my friend Heidi and I did on the weekend, there was somebody that was having all these really intense dreams, and so we held space for her and we allowed for her to process it. And I also reminded her that because it was her son was drowning in the dream, and I reminded her that it might not literally be he is drowning in the stream, you know. The water could represent his emotions, and it could represent that he really needs help right now, and that this is his soul calling for help, and you're receiving that answer. So instead of getting stuck in the fear of it, the oh my God, it's like, okay, well, what could this represent? What does this mean? And death also represents a new beginning. So let's say that we're looking at it in the sense where he was drowning emotionally, mentally, physically, like, you know, like he's just like, I need help. I don't know how to help myself. So that's how he's feeling. And her consciousness received that information in the best way that she needed to receive it. But that didn't mean that it literally means that he's in the water drowning or whatever. It's a metaphor. It's a representation of the energetics. So she's picking it up like this. Then we have to have, on our spiritual journey, the discernment and the connection and the understanding to what it is that we're seeing, so that we can filter and process it, the truth of what it is, and not what our mind tricks us into believing or fearing or creating all these situations. So yeah, so if you're having very intense emotions, erratic, like psychosis, like a disconnect, come back into your body. I was not wanting to do anything to benefit myself, like when I was in that energy, like that depressive energy last Wednesday, and I just wanted to stay there, and that's how I used to be every single day. So it was bringing me back to that energy so that I could be reminded of how far I've come. So that's another thing that's going on right now, is that we're being reminded of how far we've come. So this is like a reflection time. It's like purging, reflecting, creating, connecting, releasing, all these different things simultaneously. It's 4:04, not here, but Eastern Standard Time, right? Yeah, okay, cool. So now that I gave that little intuitive introduction and what needed to come through, I do have a good list here that I want to go through, and I did kind of tap on some stuff. So some of it might be a bit quicker, but yeah, I'm just going to go through. This was a conversation, me and my two friends, we were talking this morning like we do, just connecting and opening and being vulnerable and processing our stuff. And this is just something I wrote when we were talking. I was like, hey, I got the idea. I'm going to start writing the energy update. I'm going to start asking for messages about what it is that's happening this week that people need to tap into and understand, or some information that will give them this greater perspective on what is going on right now, not only in our own personal little micro world, but also out in the macro, and what's going on for the collective energies. So let me just tap into the collective energies real quick, actually. Because anything that I'm talking about on the personal level, it's the ripple. So the more people that come online, I'm going to say, that come online spiritually, that are connecting, that are doing, living their path from their heart center and creating and anchoring in their frequencies, it's a ripple. So the collective energy is what we feel a lot of the time, but we also have our personal energy. So it's like once we can learn how to calibrate our personal energy, then we are able to decipher what is ours and what is not. Meaning, what is the collective energy and what is my energy? What am I carrying or what am I interpreting as my own when it's actually the collective? Or how can the collective be showing me my own healing that needs to be done, or growth, or whatever words that you want to put on it? Okay, cool. So let's get into it. So the first point I have here is radical acceptance. So maybe we'll just do this first little part in like a little 3 steps, okay? So like if there is 3 steps that I can give you this week to process some really intense experiences or emotions, first step is radical acceptance. I was talking to my friend Heidi, and we were realizing that it wasn't until she radically accepted her relationships with her parents, with her siblings, with her family, with everything, just radically accepting what is and what was. And I'm hearing grief will come up as you're radically accepting. And that's part of the void that's been created through lack of nourishment or love or whatever it might be. So it's radical acceptance of what has happened, of what is. Surrender, radical acceptance. Then from there, we invite forgiveness into the experience. So once you can fully accept, okay, I see you, and accepting, I'll give you the example of like, with a parent, with a parental figure, if you have a lot of resentment or frustration or anger or abandonment or separation or whatever it is that you're needing to radically accept, in order to expand your compassion, well, of course, connect to your heart space, but understand where they came from. Understand that usually, even though what we have experienced growing up, we live from that place. So basically, like if these are my stipulations for what a good life is as a child, then I'm going to feel content as an adult. So for example, say you had an alcoholic mother, an abusive father, unstable home where there was a lot of abuse and a lot of, chaos and lie and deceit and all this unsafe energy. Then say you are in a relationship as an adult with children and you don't have the alcoholism or the physical abuse or the mental abuse or the emotional abuse, but you still have the fragments of your past. So it's like, okay, I created this life for myself that's so far from everything that I was given, because that's not what I choose to raise my children in or to create from that space, but you still have the fragments of what created you. So you're still, part of you is still living from that wounded space and making decisions and choices from lack or scarcity or abandonment or low self-worth, or whatever it might be. So, yeah, like giving yourself that, and your parents or whoever it is that you're working with, healing, whatever. It could be a partner, it could be anything, it could be a sibling, just having compassion and understanding for their path. So radical acceptance, forgiveness, okay, and then rewriting the story, because all this is a story that's on repeat in your mind over and over and over and over again. And 99% of the time, things didn't even happen how we remember them happening. This is the crazy thing about memory, is that the last time you thought about whatever it is that happened is the memory. So every time you think of something and suppress it, you're changing your perception of the memory, because you're solidifying the emotions and the experiences that you had. Now, mind you, it's good to acknowledge and to express yourself, but there's a line between ruminating and being in the victim mode and blaming all the time, or there's like, okay, I really want to grow and I don't want to suffer anymore, and I want to move forward, and I want to create a space where I feel whole and connected to everything and everyone in my life. So in order for you to do that, you have to rewrite the story that you've been telling yourself. Like, if you don't think that you're worthy of receiving anything, it could be financial, it could be a relationship, it could be a car, it can be a job, like it can be anything. It's like, what story are you telling yourself? Because whatever you're telling yourself, you're right. Whether it's that you can do something or that you can't do something. It's like, what are you going to choose? Okay? So rewriting the story, this is such a powerful, powerful, powerful thing to do. And so with radical acceptance, forgiveness, and rewriting your story, you're shifting every aspect of your being, your mental body, your physical body, your emotional body. You're calling in your spiritual self, and you're anchoring in these higher frequencies, and you're listening. You're listening. Okay? So that is, I guess, my little 3 steps that I just kind of made up. Not that I didn't already have those 3 written, but calling them the 3 steps, because really that's a really powerful method to anchor into your practice. So radical acceptance, forgiveness, and rewriting the story. Okay? So let's see, what else do we have? So I have change your thinking and the universe will change. Okay, guys, so tapping back into the energies of this week, this is instant manifestation. So as I just said previous, what you're thinking about is creating your reality. What story are you telling yourself? What's constantly on repeat within your own being? So it's change your thinking and the universe will change, which is what I'm saying about rewriting the story. So change it. Choose differently. One big one that I always used to use when I was working on shifting my money blocks was I was always told as a kid that we can't afford something. So if mom didn't want to get it for us or whatever, she'd say, no, we can't afford it. So then that's the subconscious belief that I picked up. So then when I became an adult and I would, possibly want something, but, not want to spend my money there, I would have to shift it from I can't afford it to I choose to spend my money elsewhere. Now, when I say those words, what does that feel like to you? I can't afford it. I can't afford it. Or I choose to spend my money elsewhere. I choose to spend my money elsewhere, right? So I can't afford it comes from lack, meaning I don't have the money to spend on it. I choose to spend my money elsewhere is coming from a place of abundance and of choice. So I have the money and I could buy it, but I'm choosing to spend my money elsewhere. And that's how the thinking, changing our thinking can start changing our life, our frequency, our vibration, our choices, everything. Okay? Even the way you think about an emotion or the way that you think about work or a relationship or anything that it is that what you're thinking is what is manifesting. Okay? And mind you, it's a little bit deeper than just your conscious thoughts, right? It's about going deeper into the subconscious, sub just meaning below your conscious mind. Going into that subconscious and creating a dialogue, a language, an understanding with your subconscious and why you are the way that you are, so that you can start shifting out of those patterns. Nice. And then the next point is take your power back. So this is a perfect leeway because in doing this, we're taking our power back. We're choosing. I am taking my, sorry, I heard a buck. I'm taking my free will, my sovereignty, my choice to take my power back this week and forever and beyond. I'm choosing to take my power back. This is the energy, strong boundary energy coming up. Is like, oh my God, I can't fucking handle this shit. I can't handle how you're treating me anymore. I can't handle. Well, take it back. Take your power back. Stop giving it away all the time with what you're thinking, what you're choosing to do, how you're choosing to spend your time, who you're showing up for, what you're prioritizing. All this is spreading your energy. So take it back. Where's your energy? Where's your attention? Okay, so this week, really reining in, taking your power back, solar plexus energy. And then every moment is a new moment. Okay, so integrating in that quantum level of reality that we exist on. You know, don't think about the year or the month or the week or the day even or the hour. Think of each moment. This is what we're entering into. This is the time frame, if you will, because there's only now moments. So there is no such thing as an hour or a minute or a decade or whatever. There is, but we're accessing these quantum levels of time. So when I'm talking about a timeline collapsing or converging or you manifesting or you healing a trauma and reclaiming that back, these are all moments. They all happen in a moment. A moment can encompass experiences, emotions, thoughts, all these different, it's just a moment. It's an ambiguous thing, but it's just saying that every moment is a new moment and that you can take your power back. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. It doesn't have to be da-da-da-da-da. It's every moment is a new moment. And it's that simple to be able to shift your conscious awareness, to be able to, choose yourself over and over again. Who cares if you've known someone for 30 fucking years? If it's time to cut the ties, it's time to cut the ties. Honor yourself. It's a new moment, every moment. So tap into your heart center and ask for your heart to lead. Oh yeah, and then we have Day of Resurrection, coming back to life. So that's the energy that we're in again. We're coming back to life right now. I talked to my sister this morning as well, and she's been through a lot, like as most of us have, but it's really nice to see her in her life again, in her energy of excited to be alive, looking forward to, she got dirt bikes and stuff for her kids, like being able to enjoy life, the simple things, the little things, the connection, the joy, the pleasure, all of that. So that's what this day of resurrection and coming back to life is all about. So this week, it's like, it's going to be a lot lighter. It's going to be a lot easier than the past, I'm even going to say month, okay? Because we were just in Pisces season, so that was very emotional. A lot of emotional turbulence, but what that emotional turbulence did for us was brought us clarity. So now we're kind of stepping more into this forward movement and clarity energy. So it's like, this is what the coming back to life is. It's like, we were just in that very yin energy, very winter, very internal, very hermit, very depressive, anxious energy. And this week, we're trickling in these light codes that are, I'm seeing a foundation, are building our foundation, and we're listening, and we're taking the action, and we're letting go of everything that once held us shackled to whatever. We're being released. Where did I write that? Yeah, we are free. That's not the next one, but the one after, so I'll just go to that one. We are free. Release your own shackles. No one is coming to save you, okay? We are free. We are free, guys. Right here, right now, we are free. This is the only place we're not free. And this is how they manipulate us and control us. So going back to our thoughts and going back to the stories, they know this about us. And when I say they, I'm talking about that darker energy, okay? So they know this darkness about you, this is not who you are, okay? This is the whole point of the resurrection, of the coming back to life. You plant the seed in the darkness, and it grows from the light and water. Yeah, so that was the big message there for this week, to start affirming that we are free. We are free. We really are, truly. Like 2,000 years ago, guys, like we were getting murdered for talking about this stuff, and now we can all create our own content and information and spread it and share it and connect. We are free. So it's time to start liberating ourselves and letting go of the chains and the shackles of all the lifetimes of abuse and mistreat and neglect and abandonment and whatever it is, okay? That is being shed so that we can embody our highest self to what it is that we deserve. And we're the ones that do it. So then just going back a quick second, I have a look at the positives and the negatives. And this goes back to the radical acceptance, forgiveness, and rewriting the story. So looking at the positives and then looking at the negatives. Looking at how it is that you grew or what it is and how this changed you. And then looking at the negatives in the sense of like the trauma that you endured and the different things that you had to experience to go through that maybe you could play victim to, but you're not choosing to anymore. Just kind of acknowledging and saying, well, this is something that I really would coin as a negative, and this is something I'd really coin as a positive, and then merging those two perspectives together and understanding the higher perspective of anything, whatever situation you're going through. Okay, and then I'll do a little shout out to Chelsea here, because this is what she said when we were in our conversation this morning. Your mind must die before you can connect to your soul. So it's so funny because I guess this is all about the mind this week. That's kind of what I'm gathering from just talking here with you guys, is that it's all about the mind, our thoughts, the stories we're telling us. Like, we're really having a purification of the mind. Yes, that's what this resurrection is all about. Purification of the mind. And solar plexus energy too, which is like self-worth and power. So, oh yeah, power, because I've been saying take your power back. I'm so silly. I just get a download and I'm like, okay, solar plexus too, guys. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have been talking about that. So anyway, back to our mind though. So it's our mind must die before you connect with your soul. So in order for us to be able to, our soul can also be our heart center, because that's where this is the bridge to our higher self. We have to enter into the kingdom through our heart center in order for us to reach wholeness. So in order for us to access our heart and our soul, we have to purify the mind. And when I'm saying your mind must die, I'm just saying all the untruths, all the trauma, all the grief, all the density that you've been holding on to and processing and experiencing and living. We're now in this space where we can filter through that and heal and upgrade our species, ourselves, the way that we live, our communities, like everything. This is going to be the ripple. This is the ripple that is anchoring in new earth with every moment that we choose to bring a conscious awareness to connecting with, you know, the earth, with our ancestors, with our galactic space friends, with all of it, with the, you know, just everything. Just connect to yourself, connect and ground in these higher frequencies and listen and expand and explore what it is with a curiosity. So we have to lose our mind. You know, we all talk about losing our mind like it's a bad thing. But to be honest, losing my mind was basically the best thing that ever happened to me, because it helped me to find myself. You know, like with my depression and anxiety and being an emotional friggin' train wreck and all these different things, I had to lose my mind. I had to, you know, my ego had to die, which ego is just my self-construct, like what I thought I was and my perception of the world and the way I perceived it and everything like that had to crumble, which is what our ego is, right? How I perceive, what is my place in the world, you know? All that dissolves once you connect to your heart, because you realize that the only thing that really matters is love. So when we can simplify it, the mind learns to quiet, and we can connect to our heart, which is our soul, which is our crown, higher self, above and beyond, connecting below, creating that toroidal field again. You know, that's the magnetism. That's how you manifest, is when you connect to your heart space, and when you can purely manifest, when you manifest from a pure place, instantly. Saying something and then seeing it appear. Like, this is real shit, guys, you know? This is not just some far off thing. This is reality. We have the capacity, so... Alright, and then familiarizing with death. What else do I have? Okay, I am going to read it all. Truthfully, I don't really want to. But I'm going to, because I know it all needs to come through. So, and I know that I show up, I receive the messages, and I deliver them. So I have to go through it. So, familiarizing with death. Okay, so this is the last point on this page, anyway, that I wanted to bring awareness to, because I know that death is an awakening for a lot of people, and especially with everything going on with COVID, and people really having death in their face, in all the different ways. building a healthy relationship with what you perceive death to be. This is a big, big, big message for this week and beyond, and integrating this deeper is like, what does death mean to you? What experiences do you have with death? What emotions come up when you think about death? What has the world told you death is? You know, really going deep into what death is, and the truth of death. Because, again, we've been lied and manipulated and fear-driven around death when it's, you know, just as beautiful as birth. You know, it's a completion of the cycle. So, really learning how to honor endings, change. There's that word again. Change. Because death is just change. Energy is not created nor transformed. Nor transformed. Energy is not created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. Okay, I think that's like the second law of thermodynamics or some shit from science class. And that's when I realized this is proof of reincarnation. Hello? But, you know, I called up my friend Glenda and was like, oh my God, Glenda, this is proof of reincarnation. That to me was like, well, what the heck? We've all been wondering. And I read this second law of thermodynamics, and there it is. There's the proof for me. But anyway, I'm just being silly. But yeah, so familiarizing with death. What does death mean to you? So and in any way, death doesn't just have to mean leaving your body. Hence 333, ascended masters are with us. So yeah, like also transitioning into understanding that death doesn't have to mean leaving your body. It's reprogramming the word death in your own consciousness, because I think of death as, you know, much more than, and by looking at death in a broader awareness, we're able to look at death, leaving the body death, in a different way as well. And I'm burping, so that means there's some release going on here. So I guess there's some, you know, a few of you that are really, this is really gonna strike a chord with, to help you sit with your grief around a loved one that you've lost, and an understanding and a higher perspective and an honoring and a reverence to their life, instead of, it's a celebration. So anyway, so yeah, so that's like, you know, the physical death side of it, but also just death meaning change. So whenever there's a death, there's always a birth. So when there's an ending, there's a beginning. So just because something's ending doesn't have to be bad. It's okay, because something else is beginning. So they leave this physical body and this lifetime ends, and then they go on to whatever it is that their soul's so busy living it up, you know, probably way more than they were living it up right here, because it's so dense here. So it's like they are liberated. They're like, okay, I am finally not in a body. Like, thank God. Now on to the next thing. And they might come right back, but they have that moment of relief and of being home. Yeah, so then the death within our lives. So then looking at death as a rebirth within our lives, meaning, you know, when something changes in your life, it could be a job, it could be anything that you identify with, anything that constructs your identity. When that changes and shifts and evolves, that is a death. So like I said, it could be a job, it could be a relationship, it can be an accident that takes place. It could be a move. It could be whatever. That's a death. So there can also come a need for grieving there as well, even if it's just moving. You know, maybe you move from here to there and it really rocked your world, and you've never been able to give yourself that space to acknowledge, oh wow, actually that really affected me negatively, and I'd like to purge and release and let go and tell myself that I'm safe and that it's okay, that if I move again, that doesn't mean I'm going to feel like this again. I just have to heal that feeling, which is rewriting the story and forgiving and having understanding and radical acceptance around what it is that you are processing and going through. Beautiful. So, like, play with the idea of death. Death is a new beginning. When there is an ending, a new beginning is taking place. Okay, cool. So these last little notes I am just going to kind of hopefully quickly touch on, because we're already 45 minutes in, and these have been kind of capping off at about an hour or so. And I'm cool with that. I like it that way. Okay, so I was tapping into the energy of when I was a child and how I felt and what contributed to my bliss flow state. And I realized, and I'm thinking everybody that watches this, if you've made it this far, that you'll really resonate with it, and hopefully this is a key that's going to help you unlock different things about yourself. But what I realized, and this is a true gem, so we need balance between our internal world and our external world. So whenever we're going through something and it's intense in a way that makes us disconnect or have to process something, all that's going on is our internal world isn't matching our external world. You think about it, that as above, so below, as within, so without. So our internal world is a reflection of our external world. Okay? So when there's balance between it in a healthy manner, that is the key. The key is, I feel this, so I do that. Okay, and that just came through now. So it's like, when I feel this, I do that. Okay? And so what that is showing is that my energy is matching, like, and I had a lot of like movement in my life, and a lot of, you know, I was focused on eating well and exercising and creating and connecting to myself, and I always had this safe space. So it's like I had that balance between my internal world of how I was feeling, and it matched. I had the safety, I had the comfort, I had the space to be. Now, of course, that changed as I got older and I had the imbalance, but that was something that I got the download for that I wanted to share. Did you guys see that cardinal go by? That it's the balance between our internal and our external world. So if you're going through something, try to understand your internal world and how it's reflecting your external, or vice versa. Okay, so if something triggers an emotion, look at your external world and say, what is triggering this emotion, or vice versa. Okay, so really play with that and really focus on balancing that and connecting. Is like, whoa, what's my internal world feel like, look like, sound like, and then what is my external, and then practice on calibrating them to match. Okay? And then, you know, say, like, if you are going through a denser emotion, it's about giving yourself that push to move the energy and to process it, and to give yourself that oomph, the oomph to get through it, to process and to get through what it is that you're going through. Oh, yeah. And then the true ripple that you create in the universe. Now, here we go. Talk about the true ripple that you create in the universe. Back to our thoughts, okay? Like every thought, every emotion, every experience ripples out for infinity. So your mind, your body, your spirit, balancing them. Because if you're out of balance and you're rippling, this is the power we have, guys. Like, we can ripple negative and we can ripple positive. We can ripple everything and anything that we want. But this week, we're being told and reminded, or whenever you find this video, because it is also timeless information, and you really start understanding your impact, little old you, your impact on the ripple of the universe. Not just human consciousness, the universe. So think about how you can affect human consciousness, our consciousness, friends' consciousness, anybody's consciousness. We're rippling out, and we don't have to say it. This is the other thing. We don't have to say it. We don't have to act it. We are it by our thoughts, by our words we speak, by the emotions we feel. We're constantly vibrating out energy and rippling it to the universe. So what are you rippling? What are you creating, and how are you allowing that to flow out of you and connect to everything? So yeah, that I thought was fun. So realizing your true ripple. Realizing your true ripple. Okay, and then, another one. Where are you in your cycle? So we all have cycles. This is the cyclical nature of life. So I also have where are you in the cycle. So when I put the cycle, I was focusing on things external to us. So the sun, the moon, the stars, the planet, the season, different things that hold certain energetic frequencies and signatures that we will be matching up to. And then here I have reconnecting our biorhythm. Okay, so our biorhythm, our biological rhythm with the cycles, with the cyclical nature of our reality. So reconnecting. And then I have our emotions, our mental, our physical. Reconnecting with the rhythm of the universe. And then I also have, for women, our menstrual cycle. Reconnecting with our cycles. We all have an emotional cycle. We all have a mental cycle. We have a physical cycle. And you, oh, there's an ant on me. And you have to start observing and taking note of how you're feeling, especially as a woman. If you are menstruating, or even if you're in menopause, it doesn't matter where you are, but women have a very intense experience with connection to our rhythms due to the nature of reality, due to being a woman, having a period, having a connection to our higher selves, our emotions, spirit, the elements of the universe, like everything. We're so deeply connected because we have that cyclical pattern. We're connecting to the pattern. So we have to learn to reconnect our biorhythm. So that's why I was saying before about balancing our internal and our external world. Like, even if you don't feel like going for a walk, or don't feel like moving your body in a way that's going to shake up the energy, do it anyways. You have to tell yourself, okay, I'm reconnecting my biorhythm. You know, it kind of sounds fun and fancy and stuff, but it just means reconnecting your body back to the rhythm, the rhythmic nature of our reality. So, yeah, like that's kind of like a big one. Like, where are you at in your cycle? Where are you at in your cycle? Where are we at in the cycle? What phase is the moon in? What sun sign are we in? Where are the stars and planets? What season are we in? Then, on our little micro, what's your emotional state, mental state, physical state? Where are you at in your menstrual cycle? So on and so forth. And reconnect with our biorhythm, the rhythm of our body. And then we have emotional healing for emotional liberation. So tie that all up in a nutshell. And the reason that we're doing all of this is for the liberation, because we're living in a box. Okay? Oh, cool. Okay. They're like, okay, talk about how society is crazy and you're not crazy. So then I'm probably gonna close it off pretty soon. Thank you for listening and sitting and just enjoying my little babble. And just tapping in, because I know I trust that what comes through is what needs to come through. And yeah, so okay, let's go to it, right to it. Society is the crazy one, okay? You're not crazy. When Heidi and I did our group on Saturday, we did a whole teaching on how it's not us. We're not crazy. We are highly sensitive. We're highly empathic. We're highly in tune with our environment. We're highly in tune with our intuition, which then gets tied in with the trauma response, but that's okay. But we are very tapped in individuals. We're very sensitive. We're very intelligent. And when something happens, like what happened to me last Wednesday, and I lost my fucking mind, if I had admitted myself into, like, I don't know, like any type of Western institute where they deal with mental health, like they'd be like, okay, you got this and this and this, and take this medication and that, and let's just strap you here so that you don't move and you can't, like, whoa, that's not how you heal. Like, that's how you traumatize me, by fucking putting me in all these boxes, telling me that I'm fucking crazy, and then I'm believing you because you're fucking telling me that I'm crazy, and I feel crazy, so I'm gonna believe you because, believe me, I feel fucking crazy. Okay, so that's, in a nutshell, the energy. And, they're not there to help us. They don't know how to help us. They've been indoctrinated to do what they do. I'll just say that. Okay? And it's not for healing. It's a band-aid. It's a quick fix. We don't go to the source. We don't even talk about the source. We just talk about the symptoms and bing, bang, boom, slap a label on it, and let's test you out. So I just wanted to bring in that energy as well, just to bring in awareness, and just for that, whoever is on this path of awakening, of enlightenment, of spirituality, of tapping in, of learning about the cosmos and the collective and our place in it all and everything, you're not crazy. Okay? You are not crazy. It's society that's fucking insane, okay? When we turn a blind eye to suffering, abuse, pain, neglect, manipulation, that, to me, is not a world that I want to be a part of. It was not a world that I was raised in, because thankfully my mom kept us in a cute little bubble, which then traumatized me when I got to the real world, but that's okay, because I'm able to have love and compassion and hold this higher frequency for people that really need that love and support. So at the end of the day, it's all good. It's all beautiful. Everything's going to be okay. But yeah, just recognize that within yourself, that that you're not crazy, that you're tapped in and you just don't understand. So it's time to start understanding. It's time to start taking responsibility. It's time to start tapping in to your soul, to your higher calling, to taking the right steps that you need in order to guide you through this wild journey that we call life. So yeah, I'll just read these last 4 little bing, bang, boom, and then I'll get out of here and pop in next week. So, being trapped in our mind. This is the first one that I have out of this little list. Being trapped in our mind, okay? So this is something that we're needing to learn how to work through and move through, because our mind is very powerful. And so when it is being used for sucking energy out of you, and having negative thoughts, you are not connected to your heart. You are not connected to source. So then it's your responsibility to, again, this is my second point, create a safe space. So we're trapped in our mind. We need to create a safe space to explore, to allow, to give the space for whatever it is within our mind that is trapping us, our feelings, whatever it might be. Create a safe space in order to process. I have released responsibility that is not yours. I'm going to say that again. Release responsibility that is not yours. Claim responsibility that is yours. What is your truth? And that's that, guys. What is your truth? Tune in, tap in, connect, get to know yourself. This week shouldn't be as hard as this last month, but again, it depends on how raw, real, and honest you're choosing to get with yourself and what you're choosing to look at, what you're choosing to suppress, what you're choosing, basically. So the energy that I'm tapping into is that it's going to be a beautiful week of a lot of cleansing and purifying and healing, and I'm hearing revolutionary energy. It's very, it's big. It's like a boom. It's like, okay, you know, we've all been asking, well, this is it, but you have to create it. You have to co-create it with the universe. So that's the message. Heal, guys. Just, I am healing. I am healing. I am healed. I am healed. All right. You guys have a beautiful week. Happy Easter. Happy Resurrection Day. Happy life. And yeah, I will see you next time. Have a beautiful week. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.